Hey, welcome to the new studio. My name is Harrison from harrisonbarron.com, and we are going to be diving in today on what you need to do before you run an ad. And you might be thinking, why would I ever watch that? I'm just going to go run an ad, and Facebook's going to give me a ton of new customers. Wrong. That is not how it goes, unfortunately, because there's a lot of factors that go into it. The biggest common mistake that I see every single time is people go run an ad, which is fantastic, but then they go run it to a homepage. And that is a major, major problem. Because think about it, right? If you just walked into a Honda dealership, but you never knew any Hondas, you'd be like, why am I here, right? You don't even know why you need a car. Or they're like, hey, you need a car, right? And that person gets there and they're like, what do I do? There's 7 different options and they all have a bunch of different options inside of them. It's information overload. Or if you've ever gone to Cheesecake Factory, they have literally like a Bible. There are hundreds of menu options in there. It is way too much. So what you have to do is you have to run an ad to a landing page. And I'm actually going to break down exactly what you need to do step by step so that way your ad budget doesn't go out the window. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I see it all the time. There is a specific way that you can run an ad, and when you do that, you will have crazy amounts of success compared to anybody else in your space. It's just the truth. So let's dive into this here. I brought out my handy dandy pen. We are going to be diving into exactly what you need to do and the process that you need to go through it. But spoiler alert, the last thing you do is actually run the ad. By watching this entire video, you're going to understand how to save thousands of dollars and run an ad the right way. And this doesn't matter if it's on Google, doesn't matter if it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, any ad platform out there, there is a specific way you have to run the ad. So let's jump into this here. I've broken out my little whiteboard, and we are going to go into exactly what you need to do, right? So ultimately, all the way at the bottom here, we have our favorite thing, which is going to be a customer. And also, I apologize, my desk is a little messy. I am still moving. But we want more customers, right? Because more customers equates to more money. And I hope this is green or something like that. Well, maybe it's okay. More money. Money is always good. Money helps keep the business going. And that is what we're on a search for. We need more customers to keep growing our business. But how do we actually get there, right? You can't just run an ad to your customer because it's just not going to be effective, right? If you run an ad over here and you run it right to this customer, you're probably going to fail because that customer is then going to leave. They're going to walk out. They're not interested in whatever you're selling because they don't understand what you're selling. So what you actually need to do is you need to start to think about that customer journey. That's really the important part. Like, how do you actually get that person to come from here to here, right? What is that solution? And this is the exact solution that you need to do and the process that you actually need to follow. Now, we're going to build the customer journey, and then we're going to talk about what you need to do as far as execution so that way you can run a successful ad campaign. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to have this ad, right? This ad is going to have to go to a landing page. And that landing page has to be specifically designed to that ad. So if you're talking about horses, right, and you run an ad for horseback riding, your ad needs to be horseback riding. It doesn't need to be learn more about horses or welcome to our ranch. Whatever it is, and I don't know why I just thought about horses, you have to have it targeted. So if you're talking about different systems that somebody can implement to grow their business, that's fine. But make sure whatever they land on this landing page is the similar content to that ad. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but the ad should almost lead somebody in there, right? Kind of like a red carpet at a movie. You're leading that person in there, or a chauffeur, you're leading that person to wherever they're going. That's exactly what an ad is. An ad is just that attention grabber to get them to go to that landing page. This landing page is going to vary widely in every business. I recommend A/B testing. It means you have 2 tests. You have an A, and then you have a B, and you run them side by side and see which one performs better, and then you're going to stick with the better one. But ultimately, you have to run them to a landing page. More than likely, you want one thing out of that landing page. Your goal is not to make that sale. It'd be really nice to make that sale, but that's usually not the case for a variety of different reasons. You actually want them to go and you want them to give you their email address. That is where the money is. You need to get an email address from that person so that way you can contact them over and over. Email addresses are fantastic for multiple reasons. One, you can send newsletters. Two, you can run a Facebook retargeting campaign. Three, you can run a Google retargeting campaign. These are all really, really important areas for emails. And I'm sure there's plenty of other options. But for the sake of this, you need to get an email. A phone number is good, but people are a little more hesitant with phone numbers and their contact information. But most people will give out an email pretty easily. So don't think too much into it. Just get that email. This landing page, however you decide to do it, you need to get an email address. Now, some of the ways that you could get somebody's contact information, right, are going to be a freebie, right? Maybe it's a training. Maybe it's a giveaway. But there has to be some kind of reason that this person would give away their information. It doesn't necessarily need to be anything crazy, but this should be so mouthwatering. A little pro tip is if you're building out a landing page, you should probably get a professional copywriter involved. What does that look like? That looks like hiring somebody that knows what they're doing, can write words that are going to convert. It's very, very important that you do that. But ultimately, you want to go from a landing page over to your email address. After you have that email address, life gets way easier. This is arguably the hardest part about this entire process. Building a great ad is not that hard. Building a good landing page is not that hard. But finding out the perfect combination to get email addresses is the most difficult part of this process. Let me say that again. Finding out a way to get email addresses is the most difficult part of this entire process. And the reason why I say that is because you need to know your customer, the pains and the struggles that your customer is having, why they should be subscribing to you or getting any of these freebies, giveaways, trainings, whatever it might be that you have to offer. They have to be so dialed in order to get that email address. Once you get that email address, it's actually pretty easy. I'm going to pull it up and we're going to go from the top down over here. You're going to do a series of 3 to 5, maybe even more, automated emails. And that's it. If they do not buy, right? If they do not buy at the end of these emails, it's not bad. You just have to keep sending them a weekly email, updating them on what's going on. But what do you actually put in these emails? 2 of these 3 should be value emails. You can make all 3 slightly salesy by positioning your product or service as the solution to their problems, hence knowing your customer, which will help you through this entire journey. But you need to be providing value, and then this one a sale. You could probably sprinkle in a little sale inside of both of these, but for the most part, you need to have value emails, something that somebody reads and goes, wow, I'm so glad I subscribed to this, whatever it is, or I'm so glad I'm getting these emails. That is the way to do it. Now, depending on what your freebie is to get their contact information, you might be able to make these a little more salesy. If your training is like the best training ever, you could probably get a little more salesy. But for the most part, this is the most basic level funnel. But what do you actually have to do, right? Now that you know what you have to build, how do you actually do it, right? You need to go and you need to start doing this. And I hate to be that guy that says you need to go do this, but this is really what you should be doing so you can go through it, right? We know the trail that person has to go through, but what do you actually need to do? The first thing you need to do is build a landing page geared towards and I'm going to attempt to draw a gear here. This is a horrible gear. It was supposed to be a gear. I apologize. But now that you have this, you need to start thinking of what the next process is going to be. What is that customer going to be? What are they getting out of it? What is going through that person's mind? Don't even think about the ad. You need to have a landing page that is dialed in so that person can say, hey, you know what? What is that? What value am I going to get out of this? Whatever that is, you need to figure out this landing page, and this is your first step. And I don't like the way this pen cuts my writing off here, but that is going to be your first step. A landing page, number one, first thing. Think about the specific thing that they are going to get out of it. If it's a training, if it's a free consultation, if it's a giveaway, whatever that is, dial that in. It has to be so good that that person would feel silly walking away. That's the key. There has to be so much value. It has to be so well written that that person that visits that page feels like an idiot if they happen to leave, and might even regret the decision by not moving forward. And you don't do this by like, oh, you're going to lose out on the opportunity. You just have to make that opportunity seem so good that they'd be crazy to leave it. That is your number one thing. You want to build out your landing page. The second thing you want to do is build out the giveaway that you're actually giving out. So giveaway, this is going to be second, right? Whatever that is, it has to be so good. If your giveaway is not good, that person is going to walk and they are never going to come back because they put in their email address. And depending on what it is, right? If you're more of a higher tier, higher clientele kind of person, it might have to be a 45-minute or 1 hour webinar of like the transformations of businesses and how that they're there, right? And then you can position your product or solution as the solution to their problem, right? But you have to emphasize, you have to keep finding pain, you have to dig deep, and once you do that, then you can mention your product or solution. It could be a giveaway, it could be a checklist, it could be training, it could be a free course, it could be, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Things that don't involve your time, in my opinion, are always a little better, but if you have a higher tier client, maybe it's booking a free 1 hour strategy session. It might stink, but if you're selling something for $5,000, what's 1 hour of your time to potentially get a new client, right? So that is going to be the second thing you want to do. You want to build a landing page, and then you want to build a giveaway. This is almost interchangeable because you might have to build the giveaway first and then the landing page around it. The third thing you're going to do is build out your email sequence. This is arguably the secret most important part of this entire process, because you need to make sure that your emails are razor sharp. The likelihood of somebody buying here is probably decent. What that number means in your world, I don't know, because every industry has different numbers. But your emails are kind of like your, I don't want to say your last resort, depending on what you do as a giveaway. If you're giving an hour long or an hour and a half free training, it has to be so dialed in and so perfect. And the emails are just kind of like little bumps where you can make them more salesy. On the flip side of things, if you're giving away a free checklist, a free workbook, your emails better be loaded with value. They have to be so good, and just they have to be so good that somebody would feel guilty if they didn't read your next email. That's how good they would be. And not guilty because they might not know what the surprise is inside, but because you're providing such crazy value in all of this. So the third thing is definitely going to be an email. You need to get an email in there. Now, the fourth thing, after you've come up with that email address, is then come up with your offer, right? You need to have an offer. Whatever that is, I almost did fourth, TH at the end here. But whatever that is, you need to think about what that offer is specifically for that person. This should be sculpted like the Mona Lisa or the David. This should be flawlessly executed, right? Every single step in here should be perfect. However, that offer has to be so good. It's like buying a house, which I just did. There is so much paperwork in there. Hey, you're getting this, you're getting this. This is what you have to pay for. This is what it entails. This, that, and the other thing, right? Same thing with a car. If you're getting a brand new car from Mercedes or BMW, you get treated like royalty, at least in most dealerships. Keep that in mind for this, especially if you're buying a new exotic car, a Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, whatever it is. You are treated like royalty. That offer is so good. You feel good buying it, whatever it might be. If you're selling to pain and you know that that person is struggling, you need to make sure that whatever medicine you're prescribing to them has to be the best medicine ever. And it doesn't actually have to be the best medicine. It just has to be sculpted like it's the best medicine. You're suffering from this. You have this issue. You're dealing with this. our product offers you this and this and this and this. Obviously, once again, having a copywriter and consulting with one of them will help a lot of this process, but you need to create an offer. And then lastly, the absolute last thing you actually do in this entire process, and I can't believe I'm saying this because most people usually are like, no, it's not that. It's the ad. This is number 5. That's supposed to be a 5 here. That's number 5. So whatever it is you do before that is fine, but you are not to run an ad until you do all of these first. This is your build process. You need to have these all dialed in. If you have a great landing page and a great giveaway and a great email and a great offer, then go test all different ads. You might test it on LinkedIn. You might test it on Facebook. You might test it on Google. You might test different variations of these ads. You might A/B test them. Whatever it is, your ad is the last thing out there. All of these other areas should be dialed in as good as they're going to be. And then after you run ads, you can go back and you're going to revise all of these to make them as good as possible. But believe it or not, your ad is the absolute last thing you do. Fair and simple. That's it. There's no hidden anything in here. This is exactly how you're going to run an ad. If you don't do this, you are going to spend, once again, lots of money on things that don't matter. You're going to spend money on ads. That person's going to come into your website and be like, oh my God, do I go to their blog? Do I go to this? God forbid they go to your website and they click on your Instagram or they click on your Facebook. That would be a tragedy. Why? Because Facebook and Instagram are designed to keep people on that platform. You worked so hard to get them on your website. You're going to let them walk away to a different platform? That'd be horrible. You're going to lose out on the sale. So this has to happen. Once again, landing page, some kind of giveaway, whatever it is that you think of, your email sequence. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 10 emails. Your offer can't just be like an invoice. It has to be like juicy, colorful, engaging, recaps everything that they've gotten, the value that they're gonna get, the value that they've already gotten, what the outcome will be at the end of all of this, and then last but not least, your ad. Your ad is the last thing that you're going to do. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're doing this in any other way, if you're running an if you even think about building an ad, well, this ad and then this goes to the landing page. No. You need to have that landing page created, hopefully already tested with a small subset of people, the giveaway tested with a small subset of people, the email address or the emails, and then your offer, and then that ad comes into play. You never want to do, oh, well, I'm going to run this ad and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. You can always run tons of different ads into that one landing page. But if you build one ad specifically for one landing page, it's going to throw off the entire order. You're going to hate yourself down the road. I promise you. This is the right way to do it. We've helped hundreds of businesses at this point. I've helped, I don't know, like 40,000 people at this point. This is the way to do it. I hope you guys found tremendous value in this. I hope I've earned a like at this point. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, or you found value in this, please leave them in the comments below. I work really, really hard on these videos. I try to do as much research as possible before this. I've consulted more people than I'd like to admit to confirm that this is the best way to do this. I know how to do it. This is the exact process that I follow amongst many of my colleagues. I recommend you go implement it. In a coming video, probably my next one or a video following that soon after, I will literally show you exactly what you have to do in each step of this process. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Love you guys. Peace.